Hello, hello. This is the my artifact episode number 3605. Today's date is September 22, 2025. It's been almost like a morning at 8:29 a.m. All right, let's just jump into the question. All right. Okay. Okay. Question is, what if the Big Bang was one of many cycle? Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question? This question is a what if question. Okay, why am I asking this question is because of that ki what if question are kind of like a really like a very different kind of like question. Like basically it's forces you to think about different point of perspective, and even if you don't really have any kind of like a knowledge or things like that, you are try to think that what exactly this or that. Example like this question, like in this question we have mentioned that what if the Big Bang is not a kind of like a one time event, it's a kind of like a cycle. So Big Bang, this kind of like a topic is associated with the scientific stuff, na. I am not a scientist, I am not expert, I am nothing really at all. But when I ask this question to myself, I force myself to kind of like give the answer. And when I give the answer, even if that answer might be right or wrong, whatever it is, but I might have kind of like some certain opinion. My answer might not be exactly 100% right, but it not be kind of like something 100% wrong. I don't know. I'm kind of like simply sharing whatever the kind of like information that I have, and it kind of like simply improve my thought process, something like that. I am accepted that my information is not exactly right, but it kind of like simply improve my thought base. And by the way, this is the artifact. Like basically, no one is actually hearing this thing. So like basically, is this thing? I don't know. Like some people hearing or not, whatever it is. Okay, but still, when I ask this question to myself, it kind of like somebody gives me something a very different point of perspective, and I wanted to express my thought process regarding about the question that they ask and things like that. So what if question is really good, really great. Okay, yeah. So let's just jump into the question. The question says that what if the Big Bang was one of many cycle? Okay, yeah. Now regarding about this question, you have to understand a couple of things. Okay, yeah. What is exactly Big Bang? Okay, yeah. So Big Bang is a kind of like an event is actually happened in our past. Like a like basically it's a beginning of the beginning. It's a beginning of entire existence. Uh like basically the world that you are seeing, not the planet, like the universe that you are seeing, like a bunch of stars, galaxies, planets, and things, and that whatever you are kind of like simply imagine this universe almost like a maybe 14, 15, I don't know how many billions ago. Okay, I don't know, but these are kind of like a something very small tiny particle, like basically just small tiny particle. Okay, yeah. And the explosion happened so rapidly that universe is actually created. Okay, yeah. The very crazy story regarding about the Big Bang. Okay, yeah. I might have not really that much information regarding about stuff, but I'm trying to tell you as simple as possible. Is it okay? Yeah. So imagine a kind of like a explosion. Okay, yeah. So when something explosion happened, it explode everywhere, right? Like basically, if I have a story bomb and I kind of like a simply just blow that story bomb. Story bomb is a kind of like a bomb, by the way. It's Diwali Fataka in India. Okay. So if you blow that bomb, the shock wave that you can feel, okay, that shock wave is kind of like a simply emit everywhere. Okay, yeah, everywhere. Um, you actually seen any kind of like a sort of nuclear explosion? Okay, yeah, in any kind of like a videos or things like that. It creates that shock wave. Okay, yeah. This is what exactly happened in the Big Bang. Okay, yeah, like a kind of like a sort of explosion happened, such a explosion that shockwave, like basically that that universe actually started expanding. But there is a one question that we should supposed to be asked. If the universe is actually kind of like a simply start, or like basically start from something, then what is exactly that something? What is actually before the universe? What is actually before the Big Bang? We always really curious regarding about that, because we don't really have any evidence regarding about that. Even if we have this technology, we don't know what is actually before the Big Bang, or what is exactly before the Big Bang, or like what, I don't know, or not know, like basically humanity doesn't know that what is actually before the Big Bang and things like that. It just, they just know one thing, that all the existence actually started from the explosion, and the explosion happened, and it just, the entire universe actually created. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a something is this thing that a explosion happened, the entire universe actually spread from that point of explosion kind of like that. Now this is kind of like a really very crazy stuff. Okay, yeah, like we didn't really talk about that. Okay, and we, okay, let me give you some sort of kind of like a little bit what I know regarding about this thing. Okay, yeah. Let me give you the timeline. Okay, regarding about how the Big Bang, like basically like after the Big Bang, what exactly happened and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So when the explosion happened, okay, yeah, it does not create kind of like a galaxies or planets or things. No, nothing really at all. It just a dust. It just dust cloud. That's it. Like whatever it is, it just kind of like something, just a dust, just gases, just, I don't know what is actually it release. It just release something like a dust and cloud and things like that. That's it. Okay. And after kind of like a couple of billions of year, it just kind of like somebody expand, and it just kind of like a became cold, because there is no kind of like a simply heat. Why? Because there is no planet. Sorry, there is no planet. There is no star. There is nothing really at all. It just dust. And somehow, suddenly, slowly, those dust particles are started colliding with each other. And at some time, they collide such a thing that they became kind of like a something a planet, or kind of like a things. And when they became planet, they kind of like a something create a gravity in itself. They started attracting other dust particle. Those dust particle are kind of like a combine, and the friction between them dust particle create heats. Okay, yeah. And that heat create hydrogen. Okay, yeah. Hydrogen is a first element that it create. That's why we called first element is hydrogen. Okay, yeah. Then four hydrogen created, and because of the four hydrogen, helium is created. Okay, so helium is a second atom, hydrogen, helium. Okay, yeah, in our periodic table. Now the combination of hydrogen and helium something very crazy, because when the hydrogen and helium combine, it create nuclear fusion or maybe nuclear fission. I'm not really sure about that. Okay, yeah. So what exactly happen in this particular process? When the hydrogen and helium are combined, it kind of like a somebody emit immense amount of heat in itself, and that heat became kind of like a something, a star. Yeah, a star. Okay, yeah. Because of those star became so big and massive, it kind of like a creates its own gravity. Okay, yeah. And it actually happened everywhere on the universe, everywhere. All the dust particles have started colliding and things, and it kind of like creates the gravity and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. Then kind of like some gravity created, those dust particles are combined, they create star, they create planets, they create satellites, they creates everything. Okay, yeah. uh okay, this is the one thing. Now another thing is that our universe is expanding. Okay, so what is actually expanding? Expanding means like that a kind of like a someone is actually stretching the universe, and we don't know why this thing happened. Yeah, legitly someone is, it's kind of like a simply a bubble gum, a chewing gum. Okay, yeah, you stretch the chewing gum. This is what exactly is actually happening right now in the universe. Someone or something, I don't know, but universe is actually stretching. Okay, yeah. So what it means by that? It means that ki 5 billion year ago, the kind of like a something the 5 billion or maybe I don't know like a I don't know couple of billions year ago, um, we have a local group. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah. Um, let me tell you the cosmic address. Okay, yeah, my cosmic address. My name is Saurabh Authare. I am belong to India. Okay, by the way, I'm in Wardha. Okay, this is my hometown. Then Maharashtra is a state. India is a country. Asia is a continent. Entire world is my planet. Okay, yeah. Now, if I zoom out, I kind of like a see a solar system. If I zoom out, I would see Milky Way galaxy. If I zoom out, I would say local group. Okay, yeah. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you, the local group. Okay, yeah. So, still, I just heard from the YouTube videos. I'm not really sure. I'm not really expert. I haven't really read any books. I just kind of like a somebody say whatever the stuff that kind of like a somebody I just know, that's it. Okay, yeah. So billions of billions year ago, I'm not really sure how many billions, probably 10 billion, 15 billion, I don't know. Uh, the the local group, okay, yeah, Milky Way is a part of the local group. In that local group, we have multiple galaxies like Milky Way galaxy. Our neighboring galaxy is the Andromeda galaxy, and there are a couple of galaxies is kind of like a something closely nearby. Okay, yeah, almost like a 10 billion ago, 20 billion ago. But right now, there are there is no kind of like a something. There is no kind of like a something galaxy is actually around us that much close. Andromeda galaxy is kind of like a stick with us, but rest of the galaxy is kind of like a something just gone very very far away. Also, why does Andromeda galaxies actually stick with us? Is because of that ki Andromeda galaxies and our galaxy Milky Way galaxy will gonna fuse in the future. Fuse means what? It became one. What do you mean by that? Like basically those galaxy will gonna collide? Yeah. Oh, okay. This is really crazy stuff, na? Well, like yeah, it is a crazy, but don't really worry. It happened. It will gonna happen like a billions of billions year after. So don't really worry about that. Okay, humanity might not gonna exist that witness the moment. So you don't really worry about that. Okay. So that's why like basically Andromeda galaxy and kind of like a Milky Way galaxy are kind of like a somebody close and close together, so that like basically after the millions of or after the billions of billions year they will gonna fuse together. So that's why the Andromeda galaxies are actually stick with us. Okay, yeah, but rest of the galaxies are are gone. Like basically like in our local group, I'm not really know what is actually the name of those galaxies. Okay, yeah. Those galaxies are still considered to be in our part of local group, but like basically 10-20 billion year ago, those galaxies are far much closer. But right now they are far away, like immensely very very far away. Okay, yeah. This is what actually happened is because of the universe is actually stretching. Okay, yeah. Basically it's this thing that key scientist is kind of like somebody the physicist and things like that. They think that the Big Bang is not the kind of like a one time event. No, it's a kind of like a cyclic event. Now what's a cyclic event? We wake up morning, after a 8-10 hour or 12 hour there is a night. Okay, yeah. And then morning, then night, then morning, then night. This is cycle. Okay, yeah. We also have a season cycle too. Winter, summer, rain, winter, summer, rain. Okay, yeah. We also are kind of like only bunch of cycle. Like basically every process that actually happen on the planet is kind of like assembly in cyclic format. Okay, yeah. Like a rotation around the sun, rotation around the moon, everything is kind of like assembly. One thing, one time is kind of like assembly. When it's gone, it will gonna come back. Okay, so there is a cycle. So universe loves cycle, and it actually kind of like a do his work by cyclic process. Okay, just repeat again, again, again. So basically, everything is actually a cyclic process. The day and night, the month and year, the season, the rotation around the sun, moon, galaxies, everything is a kind of like a something, kind of like a following a cyclic event. Then why not? वेदू, मी तुला 300 रुपये पाठवतो, पेट्रोल भरून घेशील. So this is what cyclic event. Okay, yeah. Wait for a moment. Let me send some sort of money. Okay, yeah. All right. So what exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like a cyclic event. Okay, yeah. Our entire process is actually kind of like a following the cyclic event. All right. So if the entire process in the universe actually follows the cyclic event, then why not universe is also kind of like a something part of cycle? What do you mean by that? It means that key the stretching is a part of cycle. Like basically some scientists suggest that, by the way, they don't really have any proper evidence regarding about that. Okay, some scientists is actually suggest that right now universe is actually stretching, galaxies is became far away. Okay, yeah. So yeah, these are kind of like some stretching, and it will gonna happen for almost like maybe another 10, 20, I don't know, something 100 billion year, I'm not really sure. Okay, yeah. Then after the stretching, when it kind of like a something went to its maximum potential of stretching the universe, then it started big crunch. Now what is actually the big crunch? A big crunch means like that it started contracting the entire universe. They just kind of like a became just fused together. Okay, yeah. That is called big crunch. Okay, and when that big crunch happened, everything that you are actually seeing on the universe, the planets, stars, everything will gonna kind of like somebody fuse together. Okay, yeah. And when it fused together, it will kind of like somebody beginning of the way that we thought. It fused together, and then its explosion happened, and then you just release. So basically, is this thing the beginning of the existence is actually kind of like a started from the destruction of previous universe probably, or contraction of the previous universe probably, right? But still it's a theory. Okay, yeah. Some scientists are actually agree, some scientists are not. Okay, yeah. uh, Another thing people are actually called says that ki, this is not exactly right. Like basically some scientist says that ki, big bang is not the cyclic event, is the one time event. And why they say that? Does they have any kind of like a somebody backing or proof or anything like that? Well, they mention regarding about the entropy. Okay, I'm not really sure about this concept and things like that. Okay, yeah. Still I'm trying to explain, but I don't know. Okay, yeah. they mention that if the universe is actually kind of like a something doing the cyclic event, like a expansion and contraction and explosion and expansion and contraction and explosion, if this thing happened, then basically our dark matter would be something that absolute zero, or maybe something that I don't know. I don't know, this entropy kind of like a things, that this concept that I don't really understand that much. Okay, by the way, there are a lot of things that we still don't know. The dark energy, the dark matter, almost like a 90% of the entire universe is actually filled with that dark matter. By the way, if you don't know what is really dark matter, you actually see like imagine a space. Okay, yeah, can you imagine? Yeah. So in your imagination, you actually seen a star, planets, and things like that, right? Yeah. But in your imagination, there is a kind of like a something, the black thing over there. What is that? That is called dark matter or dark energy, that we don't know about that. Almost like a 90% of the entire universe is actually filled with that thing. So probably if this universe is kind of like a cyclic event or not, the answer might be in the dark energy, because almost like a 90% of this thing is kind of like a base made by dark energy. So we just have to know what is actually that, what is actually this thing, and only then after we could kind of like simply say that big bang is a kind of like a cyclic event or not. It's a lot of speculations and things and that. Okay, it's a lot of stuff. Alright, I never really talk about this much science before. I never really talk about that much thing, like basically Big Bang and stuff like that. It's a very crazy thing, by the way. I don't really worry about anything at all. Okay, yeah. If you think that Big Bang will gonna destroy everything, dude, it just happened like billions year after. Don't really worry about anything at all. Okay, yeah, because the humanity might not gonna exist on that period of time, because the time is like a really scary thing, dude. Really scary thing. Okay, yeah. And also there is a one thing that nature follows. Okay, yeah. Destruction is the beginning of new life. Okay, yeah. Every time the nature is wanted to start something fresh, it started with destruction. Dinosaur, planet, stars, everything is kind of like a simply beginning of something existence, or beginning of something like a destruction and things like that. So what is actually my opinion? Do I believe that Big Bang is a cyclic event or not? Still I am not really sure. Okay, yeah. Like my instinct is kind of like telling me that it's a cyclic event. Okay, yeah. But the knowledge, the backing that I have is kind of like telling that no, this is not the cyclic event. This is just a one-time event. Or maybe I don't know that. I don't know. Okay, yeah. The question of existence of our universe is not rely on our hinge or instinct or things like that. It rely on information, the knowledge, and that is called growth, right? We just know why we are existed. We just know what is actually the reason. What we just wants to know, why is that thing. This question, when we ask this question to ourselves, we are started understanding ourselves much better way, not only as a humanity but as a kind of like a entire universe. Why this universe happened? Is there any kind of like a something multiple universes actually existed or not? Is there any kind of like a something another dimension that we don't know? Is there anything kind of like a stuff that I don't know what is that? Growth, progress is something that it's a kind of like a something is this thing na ki we are walking with a flashlight on. The the light of the flashlight, how much it kind of like see the future, it depends on how much knowledge that we have. The bigger the knowledge that we have, the brightness of the torch would be that much bigger. So basically it's this thing, the big bang and things and something which is so far away that our knowledge of flashlight is not reaching toward that. So we need to know how that knowledge and stuff. When we know that, we can improve our brightness of our flashlight, and when we do that, we actually see in the future much more better way, much more brighter way, much more probably. But still, even if we build the technology, even if we build everything, destruction is the final answer. We cannot live forever. We cannot die forever. Like basically sometimes we have to die at somewhere. Like basically planets die, stars die, galaxies are become die too. In the universe, they will gonna die too. So even if we are human, what are we in front of them? Nothing really at all, no? At one single time, at one day, at one time, I, me, you, everyone will gonna die. And it's a process, it's a progress, it's a cyclic event. It's a things that something grows from something extinction, probably. All right, this is it. Thank you.